Hello, welcome back to another sort of anime review video. I've wanted to make this video for probably about a week now at this point. Gonna want to talk about an anime that kind of just stuck with me and that I've been thinking about for quite a bit since I've finished watching it a few days back. And that is the 2004 anime psychological thriller anime Paranoia Agent. If you've never heard of it, I would recommend watching it. It's on I believe it's on Funimation. I don't know if it's on Crunchyroll or not. I'm pretty sure you can find it there if you want. Um, it's very interesting. I just watched it on a whim. It's from 2004. I'm really interested in watching like old anime as well as new anime. I loved It Invaded. I loved Cowboy Bebop, um, and just discovering new anime, and this was one of them. And I really looked forward to watching it every night or whenever I had time to watch it. Um, it's If you've never seen it and you want to watch it, there's going to be spoilers in this video most likely. So we're gonna go ahead and get into a little synopsis of the anime. Um, the Japanese television series created by director Satoshi Kon and produced by Madhouse about a social phenomenon in Musashino, Tokyo, created by a juvenile serial assistant named Lil Slugger, or assailant. Juvenile serial assailant named Lil Slugger. The plot relays between a large cast of people affected in some way by the phenomenon. Usually, Lil Slugger's victims are or detectives assigned to apprehend him. As each character becomes the focus of the story, details are revealed about their secret lives and truth about Lil Slugger. And all that sort of just kind of comes to an end in the last couple of episodes. I would say the last 3 episodes of the series are probably the most entertaining and the episodes that really just pull you in the most about the series, because you've gone this whole way, and even though it doesn't really focus on one specific set of characters or one specific character throughout the entire series, everyone that is in the show is affected in some way by this Little Slugger character in the show. The first 2 episodes focus on a young middle school boy who's, I think his name is Yuichi. Yuichi, I think is his first name. And he is good at everything. Everyone likes him. He's super popular. His grades are good. He's good at sports. No matter what he does, he's good. And people have nicknamed him, because his name is Yuichi, people have nicknamed him Ichi, because in Japanese, Ichi is the number 1. If you didn't know, now you do. So he's super popular. His life is affected by Lil Slugger because he and Lil Slugger both are best known for riding golden roller skates, golden inline skates. And so people, when Lil Slugger first makes an attack on this character designer, Tsukiko Sagi is her name. When Lil Slugger first attacks her, and she has a main sort of central point in the story. Miss Tsukiko has a very central part and very important part in the series. She not only created Maromi, who is the sort of character that she created based off of a childhood memory of hers, she's also the very first victim of Lil Slugger. So when Lil Slugger first makes this attack on Tsukiko, people automatically assume and jump to conclusions that Yuichi character bears a very strong resemblance to Lil Slugger. And so people just sort of automatically just stop talking to him, and they just abandon him and start sort of not necessarily hating on him, but they just sort of he just loses all of his popularity seemingly overnight. And he's running for class president of his school for his grade, and that his whole campaign is just ruined because of this attack. And therefore he's driven insane trying to prove everybody that he is not Lil Slugger. And then when he finally is the victim of Lil Slugger, he's in a way relieved because people know that he's not Lil Slugger anymore. Or people stop associating him with Lil Slugger, because why would he attack himself if he is a Lil Slugger? So that was sort of an interesting thing about it. And then Yuichi's tutor is affected by it, so she has her own episode. But even if these people don't have any sort of connection to each other, whether they're, like Yuichi and his tutor, or whether they're just complete strangers and have nothing to do with what's going on, they're still somewhat affected by this Little Slugger. And you can kind of just see how it drives everybody crazy, mentally when they're affected by this Little Slugger. And then in the final episode, this is kind of where it gets a little crazy. In the final episode, we learn, or the final couple episodes, we learn that Moromi, the character that was created by Tsukiko, was based off of a puppy that she had when she was a little kid. And we learned that one day she was taking this little puppy Moromi for a walk, and she did something. She fell down or knelt down on the ground or something, and she let go of Moromi's leash. And Moromi then does what any dog does, runs away. But he runs into traffic and unfortunately gets hit by a car. So Moromi, or young Tsukiko, makes up this story about how there was a boy who came up behind her and assaulted her, and what made her drop the leash, which caused this whole event to happen of Lil Slugger. And then so the whole final episode is her coming to terms with being responsible for letting go of the leash and kind of taking responsibility for it and sort of apologizing to Moromi. And it's kind of weird. She goes back in time to when the incident happened, and but she's like an adult version of Tsukiko, but we also have the child Tsukiko in the same scene, and adult Tsukiko kind of, consoles the little puppy and just sort of apologizes for what happened. And it's a very sad moment in the show, but it gives Tsukiko that closure that she needed to finally get rid of this Little Slugger character in the show. And it's just very interesting to see how, each person is affected by Lil Slugger from the very first episode to the very final episode of the show, and it just sort of focuses on these people that are like fighting with their own personal demons in their own head, so to speak, and how it's interpreted into the real world. And there's a whole thing in the show where Lil Slugger kind of sort of liberates these people because, like I mentioned earlier, when this kid Yuichi gets attacked, he's relieved. He's grateful that he gets attacked because now everybody can stop accusing him of being Lil Slugger. When he knew he wasn't Lil Slugger at all to begin with, but everybody else was against him. So that kind of also proves that mob mentality is a thing, that just because you think somebody did something wrong doesn't mean they actually did anything wrong. That could be said for a lot of stuff, like no matter if it's in the real world or not. Like, I can think of one community on this website that just absolutely goes mental when somebody does something without stopping to think about the other side of the story. So it's kind of interesting to see that play out in an anime and sort of just kind of interpret things and kind of bring them into the real world, so to speak. So that was Paranoia Agent. I would highly recommend watching it if you are into a psychological thriller. If you have seen it, what did you think about it? What did you find interesting? What did you like, and what did you not like about the show? I'm interested to hear people's thoughts about this. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And until then, stay awesome.